So my husband brought me the newspaper. I flipped it open, and right there on the front page it said, "Monkeys in concert tonight." So 7 o'clock that evening found me happily encamped in the handicapped row. I had my leg elevated like a battering ram on the elevated wheelchair leg, you know, right straight out in front of me. And I was kind of squished down in there, and the handicapped row was right beside the stage. It couldn't have been better seats. And the poor long-suffering man, my husband, who couldn't stand the monkeys, had to go sit in the way back to watch the monkeys to wait. So anyway, so there I was. And I was just so excited, and I said hello to the lady in the wheelchair on my left, and I turned to the right, and there was a young man there, and I smiled at him, and he was kind of squished up with his hands across his chest, and he smiled back, and I saw on his wheelchair there was a little sticker. It said, "Property of Tommy." I was very happy to work up a conversation with Tommy, and he was a delightful young man. He made up for chattiness with enthusiasm. He was nonverbal, but he could make these noises, and he could laugh. Oh my goodness, he had the biggest, deepest, most wonderful laugh, and his whole body shook. So we were just having this wonderful time. I told him all about my Davy Jones and Peter Tork posters when I was growing up, and my crushes, and how they were all over the pink walls of my bedroom, and he just thought that was hilarious. And so the concert started, and you know how you just click with some people? Well, I just clicked with Tommy, and we just had a great time. We were elbowing each other, and we were, giggling like giddy kids. And it was just a wonderful concert. And then all of a sudden, the lights went down, and the cell phones glowing went up. And Davy launched into my all-time favorite, Daydream Believer. And all over that auditorium, hands started swaying up in the air, left and right, as we all sang at the top of our lungs about a young man's daydream believer, right? And his homecoming queen. You remember that, right? Some of you are humming along with me. All right, so it was a magical moment, and I was not about to let Tommy miss this. So I grabbed his arm, and I'm wrestling it up in the air as high as I can, which wasn't very high because he was pretty tight. And we get it up there, and then I start shoving he and me both back and forth so that we're keeping time with everybody else. And Tommy just howled with glee, and drool was just flying everywhere. And I was just dripping wet by the time the song was ended, but it didn't matter because we were having fun. And then the concert finally ended, and these two folks, older couple, white-haired, appeared out of the regular seats behind us, and it was Tommy's parents. And the woman had tears in her eyes. And I just want to read this last part. This was one of those lump-in-the-throat moments, but she said to me, "Tommy doesn't get out much," she said, smiling at her boy, who kept his eyes glued to my face, as if he were memorizing my features. "Most people are afraid to touch him, but you've been gracious enough to treat him like anyone else. I've never seen him so happy. He's always been a daydream believer, and now you're his homecoming queen. Thank you for giving him the best night of his life." The best night of his life? I was stunned. For weeks afterward, I thought about what she had said. I hadn't been trying to do anything good, nothing gracious at all. Yet the Lord used the unlikely combination of a skiing accident, a generous husband, and a bubblegum concert to pour out his love on a very special young man. Maybe that's what goodness is. Nothing from within ourselves, but everything from God's orchestration. Perhaps goodness is not something we can manufacture by our own power, but only channel from our Heavenly Father. No one is good but one. That is God, Jesus reminded us in Matthew 19:17.